Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. We are from Group 2. We're going to present about our CSR project, in which is the highlight regarding in the chemical incident in Brunei Darussalam.
Disclaimer, this video is for experience learning purposes. It is not meant for industry practicing.
First of all, what is highlight? Highlight is the hazard identification, risk assessment and risk control, which is the processes used to identify and evaluate both existing and potential hazards on a work site, and the methods used to control or eliminate the hazards were identified. There are three main identification hazard groups, which are health, safety, and environment. Risk assessment. The calculation for risk is by multiplying the likelihood with the severity S. In order to determine the risk level, the risk assessment matrix has to be resolved. Below shows the risk assessment matrix level table that are sorted by 4 types, which are the green one is the low one, 1 to 2. The yellow one is the medium, 3 to 6. The brown one is the high, 7 to 12. And when it comes more than 12, it will be extreme in the red one. This table is to identify required corrective action to minimize the risk or eliminate the hazard. The purpose of doing the identification hazard and risk level is to highlight the critical operations of tasks that poses a significant risk and highlighting those hazards pertaining to certain equipment due to energy sources, working conditions, or activities performed in a work site.
A selection of control in hazards must considering the short and long-term control. So this is the hierarchy of the control. The priorities start from top to the bottom. At the top of the figure, where we physically getting rid the hazard. And then substitution, where the possibility to do the same work in less hazardous way. Next is engineering control. It is for controlling existing worker exposure in the workplace. Then administrative control, the change in work procedure with the goal of reducing the hazard. The last one is PPE. It used when other control measures are not feasible and additional protection is needed. So here is our case study, which is an uncontrollable fire at chemical plant at Los Tanjung, Brunei. From this incident, it has injured one local man with severe injuries at hand and face. The fire occurred from combustible liquids that were stored at the plant site for recycling purposes, which can be classified as safety hazard. Flammable chemical has the ability to burn at temperature that are usually above working temperature. A vapor released by the chemical reacted with air and caused the fire.
Moving on to the Hirarc form, the working activity that was done in this incident is storing unused chemicals. The hazard in this incident is categorized as flammable materials because the chemicals that were stored can be exploded upon reaction to the surrounding. The two types of energy that were involved are thermal energy and chemical energy. The unsafe condition is that the stored unused chemicals are congested and has a bad housekeeping, which leads to the explosion. Meanwhile, the unsafe acts are failure to warn or secure. Secondly is improper loading or placement. The likelihood is rated as 4 because it has a good chance of occurring and it is not unusual. Since there were no deaths involved in the incident, the consequences is rated as 3. The risk matrix were then calculated by using the formula of likelihood multiplied by consequences, and the value obtained is 12. Some of the appropriate control measures that can be taken are housekeeping, repair and maintenance programs. Training on safe food procedures and refresher training should be offered. Lastly, hygiene practices can reduce the risk of toxic materials being absorbed by workers or carried home to their families.
And for today, last but not least, the second work activity would be inability to provide safety equipment such as fire extinguisher or fire blankets. Hazard would be flammable liquid stored. The unsafe condition is inadequate or absence of safety equipment, and the unsafe act would be failure to provide safety equipment. Likelihood for the hazard to occur is very likely, and the severity for not having fire extinguishers is major. The risk matrix would be 16, which is under red, which is classified as danger. As a control measure, administrators must provide and monitor safety equipment such as fire extinguishers, And also, the staff should be provided with training on how to use the safety equipment. Finally, critical issues I would like to address is administrators should ensure no one is anywhere in or around the building during a large explosion alert to avoid casualties. That is all for today. Thank you.